Welcome back to Pillow Talk. I'm Christian.
And I'm Libby.
Today we are going to finally reveal the name of our baby girl, who is due sometime in the middle of August.
Mm-hmm.
But before we get there, we're going to kind of tell the story of
how we got here.
And maybe some of the names we've considered in the past.
Or a future baby.
Or for middle names, because that was the hardest part this time around, was coming up with something that we could mutually agree on. And the first name was pretty set in stone from back when you were expecting a while
first
ago.
Miscarriage.
And it's kind of stuck. So we'll tell that story as well. Where to start?
I don't know, but this is an episode that he has been dying to make. But I wanted to wait until our 20-week anatomy scan. We did an anatomy scan at 14 weeks, but I know it's super early. So I just wanted to be 100% set and ready and not have any surprises. But we had our anatomy scan. Everything looks good. We go back in 2 weeks for another one. But she's still a girl. And so we're still set on our name. And we finally, like in the last week and a half.
48 hours?
Well, okay.
Officially.
I have had a middle name set for the last week and a half. And he finally agreed to it like in the last 2-3 days.
So Elliot's middle name is Grey, Grey, like the color. But like the European spelling. And we wanted it to be something kind of fun. Middle names should be a little less serious, and I think they should be kind of weird. So we wanted to do something a little different, but still something that sounds elegant. Or someday it's not going to be like, your middle name is what? I'm sorry?
Christian has always been the type that didn't really want family names involved for some reason.
I don't like traditional names. It's not that I have anything against family names. I don't like traditional names because, again...
But not all of our family names are traditional, and you still say no.
Most of them are.
Anyway, I love family names because I'm a sentimental person, and...
Okay, but that doesn't mean I'm not sentimental.
Well, okay, you know what I mean. But we did not pick a family name for Elliot, first or middle, and we did not for this child either. So... I don't know. I don't even know how we came up with Grey. I think we both just loved the color. We liked how it sounded with Elliot. We thought it was different.
I came up with it. I just don't remember in what context.
Yeah. And so this time we were like, do we pick another color? Who cares? Do we do what we want? So we kind of did a little bit of both.
So we're going to talk about some names we didn't pick first. We're not going to just throw out the name and be done with it.
Yeah, we got to listen to the whole thing to get the goods.
Do you want to pull up the list?
Sure. So I've always been a person that has had a name list in my phone since probably, 6th grade. I mean, you can ask my family.
I feel like this is typical of my sister. I remember having a notepad or something where she had future kid names written down. And maybe this is a girl thing. Guys don't do this, but okay. I'm not going to say guys don't. Maybe some people do. I mean, I've always had names in mind, but never like, hey, I'm going to make a note in my phone of...
Yeah, because the note is forever changing and evolving. Like, I remember had to have been in middle school. I was diehard set on the name Athena because my family's Greek, and I just thought it was so beautiful, so awesome, and now the name makes me want to puke. So no offense if you have a kid named Athena.
Some of our names have been ruined by either former acquaintances, pets. One for us was Murphy. It's our dog's name, which we probably would have used for a baby girl.
Yeah,
or a boy. I know Oliver was another one, which you had a cat named Oliver.
Yeah, and I really love the middle name. I like the name Lou for a middle name, but that was his mom's dog and his grandpa's name. So he's like, no, we can't, but I just love it. I think it's so cute. I'm still going to pick that battle hopefully in the future.
Not that we couldn't use them because they were used for a pet. It just would take a little getting over to be okay with.
Yeah. So, like I said, this list has been evolving even in like our relationship together, and even in our the time that we have been preparing for a family, expanding our family. It has changed quite a bit.
Some of these may still be used. So
yeah,
there are a couple we've purposely left off this list that we would like to use in the future, but
yeah, there's at least one on here that we're like, okay, if we are lucky enough to have a third, specifically daughter for this name, this is what it is. So we're not going to share that one. But everything else is kind of, I guess we'll see.
we talked about it in one of the previous episodes, but we like gender neutral names. They don't have to be too boyish or too girlish. And
mostly gender neutral.
Mostly.
We like unique things. We don't want it to be like, what the hell type of weird, but we want it to be like, catch your eye.
I also don't want it to sound like something you would see on a hand-lettered sign on Pinterest that somebody made, like a really basic...
white girl.
Yeah, I mean... there's just certain names that have become like cliche for millennials to name their kids, and it's always something that ends in Lynn or, it just... People have gone too far. I don't want to name.
We're trying not to offend anybody, so...
Right. And there's not someone specifically I'm aiming this at, but...
Like, right now, there's, like, this trend on TikTok going around that has all these adorable pictures of kids. And it does, like, 10 trendy baby boy names coming in 2022. And it's, like, I don't even know. But if you're on TikTok, you know what I'm talking about.
I don't know.
And those are the names we're trying to avoid. So, okay. So, for first names, these are some of the names we considered. McKinnon.
That's one of Libby's picks.
Yeah. Remy. Lennon, Izzy, Reese, Parker, Drew, Fallon, Ashton, and Ari.
Again, all kind of different, all definitely more millennial based.
And some of them could go either way for if we had a boy or a girl.
I mean, some of these are names that have obviously been around longer than the people have been relevant. We'll say Fallon, for example. Jimmy Fallon's obviously very relevant now, but I know people who are my age named Fallon, so it's not like they were named after him, but now people would probably assume that. Lennon, same thing. I know a lot of people with the last name, so it kind of ruined it for us, but also John Lennon. So it's
also becoming kind of a trendy pick too, I think.
And ultimately, I just think of when I hear parents yelling at their kids in the store, and I'm like, I don't want to be that person. I don't want to be yelling those names, and that's why we want something different enough that's unique, but again, Elliot was kind of the perfect mash of all of these things for...
Yeah, and to be fair, Christian has picked both names for both kids.
Virtual dab.
Which is kind of ridiculous because we don't agree on anything ever. And when he said Elliot, I was like, yep, that's it. And then he said this one too, and I'm like, yep, that's it. It just kind of fit and stuck, and both of us have loved it ever since we said it and talked about it, and the more you think about it, the more you talk about it, the more you just kind of fall in love with it.
It's definitely different, and it definitely takes a little time to adjust to, I will say.
Especially the middle name.
But Elliot was the same way. It's just weird to reference a future child in that tense.
Yeah. And there's a lot of people who are like, no, I need to see the baby before I name it, or like do a surprise gender when they birth the kid, or have no idea what to name it. And we are the total opposite of those kind of people. We want a name. Now we want to plan. Put the name to everything that we can. So I don't know. If for some reason the kid comes out and does not look like what we named it, I don't know what we'll do.
So some middle name options.
A lot of these are family.
Right. So we have Elizabeth and Lee.
Because Elizabeth is my real name, if you didn't know that. And fun fact, my middle name is Lee, L-E-E, and so is every single person in my family.
Which I totally like.
Grandparents,
the idea.
Parents, siblings,
There are people
nieces.
in my family with it as well. And I like that it's your thing.
Yeah, but you don't want to continue it.
I did not want to continue it. I've never liked the middle name Lee. And
it's boring.
Yeah,
I do think it's cool that my entire family has it, though.
A couple other middle names. Perry, which is my middle name, which is my family's real last name. That's a different story for a different podcast. It's, generations back. And it's from when they came here from Italy. Blah, blah, blah. Jackson, Alan, Harlan, Andrew, Anthony, Evelyn, Pete. We'll stop there. And... Again, just...
All of those are family names.
Kind of generic, kind of boring.
The ones we're not sharing are because they're ones we want to use if we're lucky enough to have more kids.
And Libby wants 12. So
I want a lot, yeah.
So now here's the story for the name. We'll start with the middle name. We won't reveal it. We'll just say how we came to it.
Okay, but I want to preface this whole thing. Like, if you don't like the name, we don't care. We love it, and that's all that matters. Like, my family's having a hard time with it, I think, and I don't care. No offense, family, but
is 2022, modern times.
It's our kid. We love it. We have a fun, cool meaning behind it, and that's that.
I think that's probably to be said for the first name as well, because it is different.
Yeah, no, I know.
So in the episode where we announced that we were having a baby girl, we gave away a couple hints, and they were that it was 7 letters long.
Yep.
It's a gender neutral name. It's often a last name, and I don't remember what the other clue was even.
Like,
it started with a letter in the back half of the alphabet.
Yeah, the only people that we know in real life have it as a last name.
Correct. And somebody did guess it.
Which is wild.
It was one of their 2 guesses, and they did win $10. We did actually do that. So I was listening to a podcast called Lightweights. It is one of my favorite podcasts. It is Joe Volpis and Ilya Fedorovich. They're both kind of part of that David Dobrik YouTube world. And it was one of their first guests. I did not know who she was at the time. After the fact, I looked her up and I did know who she was. I'd seen some of her videos and some of the content stuff that she's been in with her little group. And in the podcast, they were talking about how they don't know anyone else with this name. And she said, I only know boys with this name. I think I know one other girl, but most of them were guys. I do know one guy named this.
In real life?
No.
Okay.
Also on social media, he is a world-class travel photographer, and his work is fantastic.
Yeah. All the people with it as a first name, we don't even know them personally, but we just know them via social media.
So today, when I was looking up how to say this girl's last name, I found a podcast she was on with the photographer with the same name. So it turns out that the guy who hosts this podcast is also named this. He searched his own name, found that there were 2 others with this name for content creators, and he had them on their podcast. So there were 3 of them, and it was kind of that Spider-Man meme where they're all just pointing to each other because they were all named this. The name... Libby's doing a drum roll. I hope that wasn't obnoxious.
It might have been. Sorry.
The name is Pierson. Pierson.
And it's not because we love these podcasters or content creators.
No, so it turned out that it was really funny because she goes, I don't know any girls named Pierson. Her name is Pierson Wodzinski. She's a YouTuber, a TikToker, maybe. She's social media. And the photographer's name is Pierson, but he goes by Pierson X. That's kind of his social media handle. And so after listening to this podcast, I go to Libby and I'm like, all right, this is kind of different. I just listened to this podcast and this girl said that she doesn't know any other girls named this. She knows guys named this, but this is her name, Pierson. And I think you said something along the lines of, I freaking love it. It was instant.
Probably a different word, but yeah.
So we kind of just decided in that moment.
Yeah, like we were talking about these names and stuff like before our first miscarriage.
Before getting pregnant for a second time.
Yeah, so this was over a year ago.
Yep.
Year and a half ago.
I think it's definitely a name that is a little bit more common now as this next generation are starting to have kids, because it is a little bit different, but it's not too crazy. Again, that's kind of what we like about it. Middle name was harder because we had talked a lot about doing a family name and incorporating something, but there was just a couple fallbacks as far as like...
We really loved Pearson Perry. But Christian could not get his mind off of the initials being PP.
Or like if her middle name was Elizabeth, her name would be Peg. And I couldn't.
He's just so weird.
I get obsessive about weird things like that.
But finally he talked to some other people to see if it even matters, which I had been saying it doesn't.
I just figure if I can make fun of a name really quickly, so can kids, and kids are ruthless. So someday I was trying to protect our kids.
But we ended up coming up with a PP name, so that sounds wrong, but...
And the name is?
Pierson Poppy.
So Pierson Poppy is the name. And
Pierson Poppy Gargano.
We are super excited. I can live with it.
He's not obsessed with it like I am.
No, I do really like it. Poppy is the birth month flower for August. So hopefully,
which is when baby is due.
I guess if she's born early, then it's all a lie.
I hope she's not due 17 days early, but
Who knows?
Who knows?
So there you have it. Pearson Poppy is our second co-host. She's here right now. You just can't see her. And
fourth co-host, technically.
Well, I mean, I guess. Sure, third.
We love it. We know it's weird. My family's not a fan. I don't care. But let us know what you think if you like it.
Or I'll delete your comments.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm just so excited. I want her here now. I can't believe we're already 20 weeks, especially after everything that we had gone through to get here.
Now we just got to figure out how to do the podcast and Pillow Talk and have 2 children and 2 dogs.
And try and move.
Great. We will, I promise, be back with Too Tired. With Libby's pregnancy and with kind of the season change, we've had so many reschedules with people. We have 5, I think, to reschedule right now.
Yeah,
and there are others that we're starting to reach out to. If you want to be on the show, if you're listening and or watching and you want to be on the podcast, reach out to us. We would love to have you. The issue we're having is just getting the right scheduling because of Elliot's nap time, my work schedule, and now Libby's work schedule. Now that it's lighter out later, she can go out and shoot.
Yeah, I basically have shoots every single night now.
So big shout out to my mom who is currently watching Elliot so we can record this and who has been helping us out a lot so we can do that. But it is something that I really do want to bring back Too Tired. I love it.
It hasn't gone away. It's been difficult to schedule.
Yes, we have had several reschedules. So if you're listening and you want to be on the podcast, please reach out to us, comment below, send us an email. We are tootired@gmail.com, or just reach out on Instagram. That's honestly the easiest way.
And eventually, Pearson Poppy will be a guest on this podcast.
She might just drool a lot, but she'll look cute doing it.
Yeah, we also need to have Elliot make an appearance.
Yes, we should do that.
All right. Thanks for tuning in.
Bye.